Episode 115, weighing in with Travis Hartman. I am B-Money, the producer, and that over there is the Talent Weekend Trav. We're coming to you from the TH Boxing Studio here, shooting the podcast. Weekend Trav, we got a lot to talk about. First and foremost, we want to jump right in. We got Creed star Gabe Rosado taking on Gilberto Ramirez this weekend. Light heavyweight action, Saturday night on DAZN. Break this fight down for us.
Hey, low-key, that's going to be a really exciting fight that I tell everybody to watch. Gabe Rosado I think he's on 3 or 4 fight losing streak. Gilberto Ramirez is the guy who just fought Dimitri Bivol and lost a 12-round decision to him for his very first loss ever. And if anybody knows Bivol just beat Canelo Alvarez in a minor upset. So Gilberto Ramirez versus Gabe Rosado is going to be a great fight for the fans. It's like Gabe Rosado is one of those. He's kind of like a Rocky type story almost. He's really a rough and tough guy, tattoos everywhere, fights his butt off, blood and guts warrior. Usually comes up on the losing end. He does, but he puts a huge effort into it and makes it a great fight. So he just had an upset though about 4 or 5 fights ago, a fight that he wasn't supposed to win. It was for a WBO international title, but. Regardless, Gilberto Ramirez, Gabe Rosado, this weekend, March 18th on DAZN. You're also going to get Jojo Diaz Jr. versus Mercedes Gesta, which is going to be a good fight as well. So I really think you guys should tune in because I think the fans would love it. And it's on DAZN, which is the app. You don't have to pay. If you have the service, it's a monthly service. Gotcha.
Well, there you go. Big time fight. So we got, once again, Creed star from the first Creed movie, Gabe Rosado, Gilberto Ramirez. So your prediction-wise, you're just...
I think Gilberto Ramirez is going to win, yes, but I do think it's a fight that's worth watching. I think it's going to be an exciting fight for sure.
All right, tune into DAZN this weekend, folks. Normal time. It's out from California, so check your local listings via the DAZN app. Weekend Travel. I also wanted to draw attention 2 weeks from now. We're going to have Caleb Plant taking on David Benavidez. Woo! Big time fight.
That's a
big time pay-per-view fight. What do you think about that one?
Man, it's a super middleweight fight, and if anybody's heard the name Caleb Plant's only loss was to Canelo Alvarez. He was undefeated. That's his first loss, was to Canelo Alvarez. And David Benavidez is undefeated. I haven't made my prediction on this fight because I don't know who's going to win. That's how tight this fight is. And the trash talking in this fight, how this fight even got started there was like a fist fight that about happened in a gym a long time ago between David Benavidez's camp and Caleb Plant. And you know Caleb Plant, he's a little bit of an OG as well. He can get into that. He can get some feisty stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He's a little bit of a fighter outside the ring as well. Growing up, he kind of had a rough life as well. I like his whole story. I really do, though. He's a great guy. He's a great boxer. He's phenomenal. But the Benavidez's, they have a long history too. They have brothers who fight, fathers who train. Like that boxing is thick in that bloodline.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's going to win that fight. I think a lot of people are leaning actually towards David Benavidez. I don't know what the money line is. I haven't checked that.
I haven't checked either. We'll see.
It's going to be good.
Next week we'll talk a little more in depth on this one just because this is a pretty big time fight and definitely narrowing down once again, probably putting one of these guys back into title contention
100%.
Of some sort. So once again, 2 weeks from now, Caleb Plant, David Benavidez,
Pay-per-view.
Sweet Hands Plant, in 2 weeks on pay-per-view. Weekend Trav, I know what you wanted to do here. This is the #1 Beards, Bourbon, and Boxing podcast, shot in Orlando, Florida, specifically Laureate Park, specifically in a boxing gym on the 2nd floor in the TH Boxing Studio podcast room. Shot on a Sunday or Monday, today being Monday, dropping on
Wednesday morning at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
In the world. And then that being so, I know you wanted to talk some boxing items we mentioned last week on episode 114. If you haven't checked that episode out, go into YouTube, go wherever you find our podcast at, take a look at it. So what were some of the updates here?
Give you everybody a quick rundown on the heavyweight division. We talked about Tony Yoka, who is a 2016 Olympic gold medalist, who actually has already got 1 loss as a pro, fighting Carlos Takam.
He's French, not Asian?
He is definitely French, not Asian, B-Money.
I was confused between somebody else we were talking about.
Yes, and we'll talk about that briefly at the very
end.
But Tony Yoko lost a 12-round decision now. That's his second loss as a pro in the heavyweight division. And it looks like, I'm going to say it, but 2016 gold medalist with 2 losses as a pro to 2 people that he should have beat might be a bust.
Yeah, not good.
Might be a bust.
Not good. We shall see on that one.
I don't know what else to say, but it is. But good news, Tim Tszyu over in Australia blasted into the light middleweight scene with a 9th round, I believe, TKO of Tony Harrison. And I'm not going to lie, Tim Tszyu looked better than he's ever looked. Okay, the kid, his dad's a former world champion, so he's kind of in the shadow of that. Costa Tszyu is his dad, who is phenomenal. Most well known for knocking Zab Judah out in a highlight reel type of knockout. Amazing. But anyway, Tim Tszyu, undefeated, stopped Tony Harrison, and now what that does is it makes him Jermell Charlo's number one contender for that belt. And Jermell Charlo has been injured, coming off an injury. He said now, he's like, I welcome the fight. He goes, as soon as I'm healed, let's do it. Amazing, because and why this is amazing is the one loss that Jermell Charlo has was against Tony Harrison. Then he avenged that loss, but Tim Tszyu knocking out Tony Harrison in a great fight is amazing.
Dare I say, is that the money shot?
Bring 100%
of the week?
Yes, I think so. Tim Tszyu, his stoppage over Tony Harrison was very, very good. I know that we can find that and get this put up here in this little spot.
In a way that's pleasing to everybody or nobody. It's there though.
Great fight by Tim Tszyu, and then I believe that was all that we kind of previewed. I know that we didn't really preview this one, but I want to throw it out there because this is a super middleweight that I think that everybody probably could look out for. He's a guy named Diego Pacheco. He fought on DAZN on Saturday. He's a super middleweight, 168. And the only reason I bring it up is because with him fighting a couple weeks ago and then Caleb Plant and those guys fighting now, this guy's positioning himself into that division, into that upper echelon as well. Sure. And the way he's fighting, he's still early. He's not there yet, but I think within a year, he'll be there. So remember that name, Diego Pacheco, super middleweight.
All right. You heard it here, maybe not first, but we're going to say you heard it here first from Weekend Trav.
Yeah, you don't hear
Diego
it
Pacheco.
Places.
There we go. Weekend Trav, let's go ahead and switch gears here. We recently, and by recently I mean a few days ago, we went to a local show, Orlando show here. Wasn't the typical promotion company we usually go to. This was actually put on by Boxlight. I don't know who they are. At the Avanti Palms. They're on International Drive in Orlando. So the show was a little bit different than a normal venue that we typically would go to locally. Thoughts from you first?
Okay, deep breath, Trav.
Mm-hmm.
We have been spoiled.
Sure.
Because we've been going to Box Lab promoted shows, and they have done a very good job. They have had their bumps and bruises on the way up. They have, yes. But I think overall, their shows have been quality, well-ran, everything about it. So this weekend, we went for one of our friends, Ryan Main. Main event Main. He had a first round, or no, second. Was it? Yeah, it was first or second.
Second, I believe. Give me 1 second, I'll tell you.
In his pro debut. So that was why we were there. Of course, we bought a ringside ticket because we always like to go.
Once again, we buy these things, folks.
We do. We pay for these. We love to support local boxing. We always tell this. Nobody gives us these tickets. We pay for them because we like to support. So my dad went, got another couple of buddies, Brian Price, the whole UFC gym, Price, boxing people all went to support Ryan Main. Yep. And School of Hard Knocks people, all those people. Because Ryan Main has been around here about 6 years, training people. He's a coach as well. All that stuff.
Looked good, too, by the way.
And he did. He got the guy out. He got a veteran out of there with the referee stoppage. But we left before the main event and co-main event, actually well before that. We missed about 4 fights.
Yeah. So, first of all, I don't want to be the kind of person that just puts everyone on blast. The show in general, I get it. Okay, especially if there's, I don't know how many shows they've run locally or even at this venue.
First we've been to.
So once again, we're coming from a context of not really understanding the way their shows operate and the logistics. I'm a logistics kind of guy, Weekend Trav. You got to get me on all the glitz and the glamour of it, especially if I'm paying for the ringside ticket. Now, what I will say is kudos to the fighters that we saw. I think we watched the first half of the card, maybe 5 or 6 bouts. This was a 13-fight stacked card. Yeah. So, good job to them putting that on. And I know, as you know from promoting shows, sometimes stuff happens and fighters get replaced and yada yada. So either way, the first half, okay, there were some competitive things going on. We had a friend fighting, he won. Another guy from UFC Gym, Winter Springs, he won. Or wait, no, that was a draw. And so overall, very entertaining. And on top of that, it wasn't like Red Corner was winning everything. Okay, so it was okay. There were some competitive bouts.
It was so entertaining that we were out of our seats.
Oh, yes.
Because it was very entertaining because boxing matches, that's what happens, right? Even the announcer was like, get out of your seats, let's go. So I'm just kind of leading this into for you to pretext.
I've had some.
We did. We got out of our seats.
I've had some time to think about this. I think somewhere else in the stands, in the audience, some other drama was going on, and so security tended to be on high alert in this. And by security, I mean the third-party rent-a-cop security. Guys who probably weren't held by their mothers growing up or weren't nursed properly or whatever else. Guys, who have small man complexes.
Guys and girls.
Well, there was a girl, too, and she was actually the first one to have an attitude problem. Not saying anything against the glass ceiling of men and women in security roles. I'm usually very, very respectful in all these situations.
100%. B-Money is very...
You hear me vocalize on the mic and spit game here. I don't do that in public. Anyways, so I can't remember which fight it was. I'm trying to look at the card here, which one it was. But this was a very entertaining bout. Now, the ref didn't really have control over the fight, so these two guys were just clubbing along with one another. And it was, I believe, the last round, maybe a minute left. Everyone's getting up out of their seats. In fact, there's a little girl, somebody else's daughter was there because her trainer was in the ring fighting, and I gave her my seat so she could stand on it and see over like the railing and stuff like that. And during the fight,
we were first row.
During the fight, while she was doing that, I was actually on my knee. I wasn't standing up, but the last round got exciting. Weekend Trav, that's what you want. Promoters, that's what you want.
100%. You want the fans out of their seats.
You want the fans out of the seats. And we were getting out of seats. People behind us, around us, we were all hollering, and we were all up and on our feet too. All of a sudden, the round's not even over, Weekend Trav. The Renta security police come up to me, specifically singling me out. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it's complexion. I don't know.
It's tan.
Come up to me and are in my face about sitting down. You got to sit down. And I'm looking down. I'm like, I got to sit down at a boxing match? I got to sit down at a sporting event?
But first, I want to let them know, too, the scene. Because, yes, I get if you are standing up in front of somebody, that's
correct.
Fine. But where we were sitting, guys, we were ringside. There was 3 rows behind us. Is it?
And that
Not
was
a bunch. I think total of 20 total tickets behind us because then there was the wall. So there was nobody even behind them. And why I'm saying that is because it does matter. Because if you are ringside and you're standing up, there's a whole drove of people behind you. You are supposed to.
And don't get me wrong. Listen, B-Money's big. B-Money's bulking right now.
The reason why I'm saying that is because nobody was getting blocked where we were at.
Yes, and on top of that,
paid for those tickets.
And on top of that, the ring is also 3.5 feet up off the ground. So anyways, the perspective of everyone could see it. And in fact, the only one that couldn't see it, I gave my seat up to her, the little girl, and she could sit there and watch her trainer lose his fight. Weekend Trav. So they get up in my grill. Really,
I wasn't there for this part.
You weren't here for this part, but really just aggressive about trying to get me to sit. And I'm like, I'm looking around. Everyone else is standing. I'm like, why are you telling me to sit?
Didn't the people behind you say he's not bothering
us
too?
Yes. I look behind me. I'm like, am I good? Everyone, every row, they're like, yeah, you're good. Keep going. I wasn't cussing or doing anything like that. I eventually did because they kept, being very...
Yeah, they were disrespectful.
So the other rent-a-cop, the guy, the short 4-foot-tall guy with long hair that wasn't held by his mother appropriately. He was shadowboxing on the way out because I obviously made him mad. Go cry to mom and try to get a hug from her this time. He goes ahead and has some words with me in exchange. So there was just a lot of confrontation that shouldn't have been had, especially with a minute left in the final round of an exciting fight, which you want boxing fans up on their feet cheering. And then the third-party rent-a-cops, you know what they did? They said, the promoters want you to sit down.
Yes.
The promoters want you to sit down. So I don't know if Boxlight or anybody watches this, and this isn't me just getting on a soapbox saying shame on you, but just so you know, your third-party rent-a-cops who aggressively had to tell me, we have experience. We've done UFC events. We've done all the local shows. I didn't recognize any of them from any of the local shows or UFC events I go to.
But also, the head security person did come over and was like, "No, you guys are
the
good."
Avanti Palm security person came over, and he's like, "You're good. There's no problem here.
Yep.
You're good." But the third-party rent-a-cops, Patrol, let's call them Paw Patrol. The Paw Patrol members came over and kept getting in my face about it, and then they wandered off because they wanted to go to cry to somebody about the fact that I want to sit down. And they threatened to kick me out.
Yeah, the lady did.
And I told them, F you, go ahead.
Yep.
Kick me out. Go get somebody to kick me out.
There was one of those guys that was cool, and you found that guy.
Bald guy.
Actually super nice.
Yes.
As you're talking to him, the other 2 rent-a-cops came up there to try to, probably say their piece to them.
Get this, yeah. So when the situation had subsided, the fight was already over. They were in a delay or intermission, which was, by the way, promotion-wise, that was a dumb move.
It was.
All the audience left. I went up to the other guy who seemed to be kind of a managerial role of them. And I said, hey, man, I'm not trying to, rattle any cages
I'm not
here.
trying to be that drunk guy, belligerent guy, because we're not.
No, we're not. I said, but you got to understand, what we were watching was an awesome fight. Everyone was on their feet, not just me.
Yeah.
And I looked behind me, and everyone was cool. I made sure, because I'm not the kind of guy that's going to, if somebody can't see or they're having a problem, I'll sit down. I don't care. I don't know those two guys in the ring, so fine. And he's like, I understand, blah, blah, blah. And then those two that got in my face about this stuff
They come wandering over.
The situation had defused, and then they threw gasoline back on the fire. And basically, I looked at the guy, I said, listen, you and me are cool. Those two can go F themselves, and now I'm going to be loud.
That's when I seen that. I came in on that interaction. I seen B Money. I started recording it too. I was like, I think B Money's mad. Oh! And we were all like, B Money. When you've upset B Money, you've had to have done something. You've had to have done something.
You don't want to do that
because it doesn't happen often.
And folks,
pretty chill guy.
If you're one of our subscribers, if you've listened to us, you know that I can sometimes be somewhat of a wordsmith, and I come up with some funny sayings and things like that. I was letting it fly.
So also,
I was making my point. They didn't appreciate my logic in this argument at all.
At all. No, they didn't.
At all. So, it is what it is. That's just one element of it. I'm going to go into some other stuff with this show in particular.
Yep,
I don't want to harp on this because what it is what it is. Everyone has a run-in with security every once in a while. I've had a few of them here and there. Whatever. Brian Price was proud of me. Okay. We walk in. Actually, we don't walk in. We stand in line for frickin' ever to try to get in. And that's kind of common, folks. Local shows, that does happen.
But it didn't move.
But there's usually some sort of a issue with scanning tickets and stuff. But you know what? That is what it is. In a smaller venue as well, just kind of the flow of traffic, it was kind of one way in, one way out. You walk in, and the ring was all the way at the other end of the ballroom, which
really weird where they put it.
We can alluded to the fact that our ring side, there was only about 3 or 4 rows because we were on one of the sides. We weren't on the depth, the deep part of the seats. There was one.
The positioning of the ring was weird.
There was one place to get beverage, adult or non-adult beverage.
One place at a professional boxing match to get beverages.
That
one.
And
not a two-liner, one.
And that line basically went from one corner all the way to the main door when you enter the ballroom for the show. It was just bad placement overall. And I just think there was a lot of confusion that probably there shouldn't have been. And on top of that, guys locally that you're highlighting for this show that get butts in the seats, it felt like they were all early in the card. And so by the time everyone's friend was done fighting,
they left.
Everyone left. I tried to find photos of the main event, which looked like a pretty interesting main event.
They ended up going to 10 rounds,
Yes, it was a 10-round WBA title fight. Was it Salim Larbi and Thomas Lamena? I think if I got that right. I'm sorry if I screwed up your names. Anyways, it went the full distance, right? One guy's 34-5-1, other guy's 22-11-3, yada, yada. Looked competitive. I tried to look in the stands, and kudos to the photographer. They made sure that crap was cut out and blurred out because I'm telling you, Weekend Trav,
we left.
So many people left. It was just bad lineup. Whoever had whoever was the matchmaker and lining up the show, there just could have been some things that were different.
Not the matchmaker. The matchmaker just puts the show together. The promoter and the commission controls pretty much the lineup and all that stuff. The promoter, at the end of the day, he's the one that has to hold his fist to the light and say, hey, I controlled all of this. This was my show. It relies on me, good or bad. Mm-hmm. And guys, I've promoted 3 professional boxing shows myself with more people than you had there. Okay, I have. That place was a smaller place. That's fine, but it was packed. It was, but it was packed. Sucked. The parking sucked. The entry sucked. There was a beverage line that was literally no food. The beverage line, you couldn't. You had to go up there and buy 5 or 6 at once. But I don't even think you could do that. They allow you to buy so many.
I bought 6 beers at once, but it wasn't all for me. It was for all you guys.
Because we didn't want to stand in line.
The line was one, huge. And then I had So
regardless of that, the whole spiel was not good. And I actually, after B Money went and talked to the security, I went up to the security and I tried to put my 2 cents in and reason with them. Like, listen, hey, I just want you guys to know that, like, we go to a lot of shows. We're not trying to create ruckus because we're not. We have our own private lives. We have our own public lives as well.
Absolutely.
We're well respected in our communities and all of that. I'm like, we're not trying to be those hoodlums that are starting trouble and fighting people. But I reasoned with the guy, then the woman came over, and I reasoned with her. The woman came over, and I said, ma'am, at what point does common sense have to kick in? And
Yeah.
I know rules are rules, but I just want, why do people not let you stand up? She's like, because you're blocking people behind you. I go, exactly. We were blocking nobody over there. That's why we paid the money, and that's why we sat over there. Not one. She was like, but what about all these people over here that can't stand up? I go, then that's their problem. If they can't stand up, then buy a ticket to where you can. No problem. But if you're only worried about us standing up and them being jealous of it, that's a problem for me. And that's exactly what she said.
Well, then Weekend Trav, I want the ring girls to sit down while they're walking across. Oh, wait, they can't. Because they're blocking my view, too.
Listen, at the end of the day, the promoter is in charge, and they blamed the promoter. And I told them, I was like, listen, at the end of the day, I get that's your boss, but I also think that was a cop-out for them.
It was, 100%.
Common sense comes in. If they would have said, you guys are good, not one person would have complained.
If we were really in the wrong, and by we I mean me, especially because I was the one getting, I was the one in the altercation verbally. They never got physical by any means, and nor did I cross over a railing or anything like that. I might have flailed my arms a little bit because sometimes I get a little heated if I'm in a logical debate, because that's what it was in my opinion. If I was really, there was an issue, they would have kicked me out.
Yeah,
they would have
and
brought.
That's the thing. I want everybody to know this. We never got kicked out either. We actually voluntarily, after paying for ringside tickets, we're done. And that's, I'm a huge boxing fan, Big Money. I'm a huge fan. I love the sport. I love the pugilists going at it.
I felt bad because we were sitting next to a guy whose son was later on in the fight. And I was like, cool, we'll go chill for your son then. And we left. Because we just had a bad taste in our mouth at this point. And listen, once again, we want to support local stuff here on the show. We understand, we don't have a massive following or anything. Some people listen to us, but locally, there's not a lot of voices here that are promoting these things for free, by the way.
Yeah.
The airtime and what we do here.
We pay to do it.
Yeah.
Essentially, if you look at it, we pay to do this.
We pay to do this, right?
We love boxing.
We love boxing. I'm not saying I will never go to a box light event ever again. I'm not saying that at all, because it will improve. I get it, but it just seemed like there was a lot.
Hope.
It just seemed like there was a lot of finger pointing. Yeah. It wasn't rationally run, and they have the ring girl situation set up properly in comparison to box lab. We'll talk to you about that. Weekend Travel. Where was I going with this?
I don't really know, but overall,
it was good to see friends. It was good to see familiar faces. We had a lot of local guys on the show.
We support the fighters because we paid for our tickets.
We cheered for them heartily. There was another guy. I circled his name. I'll have to look at my phone.
That fought on the card?
Yep. So that was.
There was a heavyweight from Box Lab that fought actually.
Yep.
I seen the box Amari was in the ring with a heavyweight there.
Yep, and because that guy fights out of Vegas, he was pretty good. He had a very heavy left hand. Yep. I think was it Corbana, Henrik Ruiz Corbana.
I'm not sure.
I think it was. Anyways, so there was a couple of interesting fights, couple of interesting fighters, but overall, the polish on the event needs a little work.
Just the logistics of it all. Fans want to come watch fights, be happy about watching fights. As long as you don't get abusive verbally and all that stuff, then it should be fine. Yeah. None of us were abusive verbally. No. We weren't getting out of hand. We weren't starting fights.
No.
So that's the only thing.
I do think okay, so now hear me playing the other side. I want to give them some credit, the security. I think they were on high alert because there was some other thing going on. Yeah. And so they wanted to make sure that any sort of potential thing they snuffed out before it even happened. So I think there was some sort of an altercation going on the other side. Yeah. So I get it. I understand that, but they didn't listen to reason. Like you said, when does reason take over? They didn't have it.
That's where, and that's why I'm like, listen, sometimes there's rules and sometimes there's common sense.
So instead we just had Tiny Guy because he was so frustrated at me.
That was the only guy that was, I mean, the lady, me and her kind of left disagreeing, but she didn't say anything bad to me. I didn't say anything bad to her, but that one, I seen the little dude. He's about 5 foot. I seen him walk off, and he started shadowboxing, and I was like, "You don't know."
I even complimented.
You really don't know.
I even complimented before he became a jerk. I'm like, "You even have better hair than me." I said it.
That was
funny. But instead, that was really funny,
this
little 4 foot guy who needs to go home and get hugged by his mom some, or have his dad tell him he loves him or something. I don't know.
I think everybody that listens to our show, by the way, though, probably has a story about a stadium security person that overstepped their bounds.
Yeah.
Those people, to me, they're even worse than like some of those cops that were bullied in school and then became a cop to bully other people back, right? I think these people are even worse because they didn't even do enough steps to be a police officer.
If anything,
I'm a security. What is the criteria to be a security guard?
If anything, when it first started happening, I was kind of shocked that they were like looking. They came to me and were saying something like,
"I'm gonna throw you out."
No, what did I do?
No, you're not.
Wait. I'm still trying to watch the last minute of this pretty heated fight going on, which I missed.
It was bad, dude.
And I missed the decision.
It was
and
bad.
then oh, by the way, I don't want to harp on this much more. I'm going to for about 60 more seconds, maybe less. The ref that was sitting there, it wasn't Massimo, but it was one of the other guys. I think it might have been Frank.
Yep.
Frank Santori was sitting there. Even the ring officials, they were all sitting there. They all came up to me afterwards. They're like, dude, what's with their problem? You were fine. Yeah, there was no issue. They were laughing.
Guys, Frank Santori's been around 30 years probably. They've seen a lot of bad
He was literally sitting there the whole time right in front of me.
I hope that's on our side.
Oh, my gosh.
We were not rowdy.
No.
We were not abusive. We were not crazy. We were not pushing fans around. We were actually enjoying boxing.
But I will say,
Box Light, get it under control, man. We're good people.
We're good people. And shout out Massimo. Yeah, what's Montanini, man, he's the man.
He loves us.
Anyways, we can travel. What I was about to say is that it's good to see friends at these shows too. We did run into Giovanni Estella that he is fighting on April 1st. Let's mention that real quick.
Yeah, Box Lab.
April 1st, Box Lab is at Caribe Royale in Orlando. Night of Redemption, main event
in association with the Orlando Boxing Club, I believe.
Thank you. Main event. TH Boxing alum Adrian Pinheiro.
Yeah, Adrian Pinheiro, who's also been on the Wayne and Travis Hartman show. He's an alumnus for us. He's the main event, so we're going to be there ringside for sure.
Yep, Giovanni is also fighting as well.
Giovanni is the co-main event as well, who's also weighing with Travis Hartman boxing alum. Also, both of those guys, we're going to have them back on the show before April 1st, so in the next coming week for sure. And I told Giovanni, this has been in there, anybody that's ever been in studio with us has had to spar with me first.
Yeah, spar with him.
With me. Yeah. Adrian, we've sparred. We've been a couple rounds together. Actually, we went more than a couple rounds together. But anybody that comes in studio has had to have sparred with me.
There we go.
And Giovanni's like, I'm down, Trav. Giovanni's an undefeated young up-and-comer, so of course he's like, I'll
good dude, good people, good family.
It's not about that.
We like him a lot.
A couple rounds.
We saw his mom at the show too, so that was nice.
They're such good people. Good people. I really like them.
All right, Weekend Trap. I think we have complained enough. I hate the negative vibes that I feel like half the show just gave off.
And we're positive, but sometimes you have to be honest. And
it was honest.
We're trying to make boxing better. We're trying to make boxing great again.
Good and bad with that show. The fights that we saw, competitive, entertaining.
Yes.
Okay?
They were competitive.
The logistics of the show itself needed some work.
Yeah.
The ring girl situation was better than the Box Lab show.
Box Lab.
Okay. What else am I missing?
Nothing. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It was solid. Our friend won. You got to see him fight. Ryan Main.
Spent time, hung out with a bunch of other friends too.
Met up early. My dad
Elliot,
was
Tiffany
here,
Taylor. Yeah, your dad was here. Yep.
Josh. It was great.
Yep.
I mean, that's why we go for boxing matches. That's why, dude, I genuinely believe that weighing in with Travis Hartman, we help promote boxing in Florida. That's literally what we do, because we go to these fights. We also bring big groups. We love, we have fun, we enjoy it. So we appreciate what these promoters and these matchmakers do. We really do.
We know it's a lot of work.
We do. And I've been on both sides as a fighter, as a promoter, now as a fan. So I've literally been on all sides. I wish that we would have had a better time, that we could be like glowing reviews right now. But we're just being honest.
Once again, and keep in mind, we are showmen as well. Take the criticism for what it is.
Yep.
And grow from it like everything.
We didn't bash anybody.
No,
mainly
the security.
They needed to do better, but also because the promoter.
Well, they blamed the promoter.
They did, and I guarantee the promoter now is going to come back
probably.
and blame them.
Yeah.
But whatever happens, happens. But if you're a promoter, dude, I'm ringside when I'm promoting. I was ringside. I saw a lot of stuff going on. If I see somebody acting on, I'll bring them over. Hey, fans are coming to boxing matches to watch boxing, not you.
Listen, I'm a sensitive guy. Okay, I'm sorry.
B-Money's a little sensitive.
My ego felt hurt. It felt a little tainted. I had to defend my own honor because no one was there to do it.
It's so funny seeing B-Money upset.
I don't get heated a lot,
I've never seen B-Money upset or threatened to be thrown out of any venue we've ever been to.
Yeah. It
was funny.
Yeah, you got to poke the bear the wrong way, and then the bear is like cocaine bear.
Cocaine, that's coming out.
Yeah, it is coming. I think it's already out. All right, Weekend Trav, do you want final thoughts, or are we just going to wrap this thing up?
Listen, I think I do want final thoughts because I want final thoughts because of boxing. Because there are some guys that fight in boxing matches and they have a lot of yes men around them. And they don't ever learn from fights that they're supposed to learn from.
Okay.
And that's either a loss, a draw, anything kind of negative. So what I want to say about that is constructive criticism is needed.
Yep.
Okay. We do this to make things better.
Yeah.
As weighing in with Travis Hartman, everything we said tonight wasn't to bash and pull down anybody. Okay. It was to constructive criticism to make it better long term, because we are boxing enthusiasts.
Yeah.
We promote boxing. We don't promote promoters. We promote boxing. We want to see great boxing. I want them, because they represent boxing. These promoters are showing people, some person at those fights, B-Money, it probably was their first time ever to a boxing match. If somebody was the first time ever to those boxing matches, they probably won't come back.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking for. As a whole, we promote boxing.
In fact, we know several people that was their first. They were we had a group on. We were kind of spread in two different areas. We were with a group of like 20 plus.
We pretty much bought out the entire ringside.
Yeah.
Not kidding.
Nearly the first, at least the first row or two.
At least we were on the third row over there by Brian and them, so they had the first two for sure, and part of the third, and plus we had the first row on the next side. So what I'm saying is, we love boxing. I just want people and the handlers of boxing to take it serious and know that we're not tearing it down. At the end of the day, we're trying to build it up. We want boxing to flourish, and the only how it flourishes is if the fans are happy and the promoters are giving good products.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you just build and build from the criticism. That's fine.
And that's all I'm saying is fighters as well. Build from these criticisms.
The same thing. I mean, we talk about the other big one in town, like with Box Lab shows. There were some rough goes, but and they iron out.
Small criticisms.
But they build on that, and it's not just us. We don't have such an inflated ego where we think we're like it. No, but if someone's gonna listen to it, take it, grow from it, improve it, do what you need to do, but just for the experience, for the actual product to be better overall for the fans that are buying the tickets.
Listen, we've been a part of, and you've been a part of it now too, as some big-time shows. Mm-hmm. You were ringside for Ryan Garcia, Luke Campbell out in Texas. Mm-hmm. Big-time fights. Mm-hmm. I've obviously been involved in big-time fights. HBO pay-per-view, ESPN, Showtime, Fox. You name it, I've been a part of it. So I've saw from both sides of everything, how they run, all that. I'm giving a constructive criticism. Yeah. If you want to be big time, these are the things you do. Like, these are the things you need to do to promote boxing in a better way. That's it. We love you guys. ELE. Can we get back to ELE?
No.
Everybody love everybody.
No, because that's a different can of worms. We don't have time for it because we're actually running a little longer. I feel bad. We talked a little bit of boxing, then we talked about us crying and complaining, me crying and complaining about stuff. But overall, Weekend Trav, I appreciate your final thoughts. I'm trying to think, do I have final thoughts? Ding dong. Ding. No, but we are drinking this. Stay tuned to the Bourbon Lounge with Wayne and with Travis Hartman. That'll drop in a couple of days. This is not a bourbon we're drinking, so I want to make that very clear.
Change it up every once in a while, guys.
Yeah, on our second show there,
However,
we changed it up.
I am drinking a bourbon, though. I'm drinking some horse soldier.
Oh, did you?
From last
You're
week.
not drinking this?
I drank it already, but I haven't been sipping on it.
So I'm going to be the one with the headache. So Sugarland Shine Moonshine is what we were partaking in.
You're going to have a headache because of the sugar.
Because of the sugar, yeah. Weekend Trav, that's all I got. That over there is Weekend Trav. That over there is Weekend Trav.
That there is B-Money, a.k.a. producer, a.k.a. almost got thrown out of boxing matches.
It happens. It happens. Don't try me. God bless.
F around and find out.
Yeah. I think I might have said that. I don't know. I said some things.
Because me and you are both still very unassuming people.
We thought this was over.
I know. But what I would like to know is that I don't think the little dude walking off shadow boxing, because I was standing there at that point too, I don't think he knew who he was talking to. And I'm not acting like I'm this like Bruce Lee, because I'm not.
No.
But I know how to fight.
Yeah.
I know how to fight outside the ring as well.
And same.
And I'm like, don't judge a book by its cover, bro, because you're lucky that we are classy people, because any other person in that setting would have waited for that dude outside and beat the dog pee out of him.
And I wasn't doing that.
He's lucky that it wasn't worth it.
I was too worried about having to pee myself.
He was kind of a jackass.
Yeah.
Especially when he walked off and did the physical thing. Like, he walked off, and that's like, I want to fight you, bro. That's what he did. Walked off. He's like, I want to fight you, but I can't because I'm security. I'm like, drop the security. I'll take you outside. Doesn't matter. Yeah. I call that's the one-hit quitter. Boom, it's over. Okay, game over. 115's been awesome.
Wow. That was a little extra credit, man. That was like, you're watching the movies.
The bonus reel.
You watch the movies and the credits are going on and they have the credits, the end credit scene. That was the end credit scene.
Boom.
God bless.
God bless.